My boyfriend asked for a paternity test. As soon as the results show that he's the father, I'm leaving him. I'm a new mom to a baby boy who is my pride and joy, and though it's been a roller coaster adjusting to taking care of the baby, the past few months have been great. Tiring, but great. I have a boyfriend of 3 years who's the first person, relationship-wise, I've ever loved, and I thought we were doing great as new parents, but also as partners. Friday, he came home and asked me for a paternity test. Just like that, it was completely out of the blue. I was putting away the dishes and he asked for one, like he was asking what was for dinner. I'm a different race from him, but our child, apart from the skin tone, is literally his mirror image from pictures I've seen of him when he was a baby. I was stunned when he asked, and his reasons were that he had to be sure he was the father. He had to have that certainty. All I remember as he was speaking is just immediately feeling pain. The man I love doesn't trust me. He would actually believe that I would fuck someone else, cheat on him, and then try to pass off another man's baby as his. I've never ever given him the reason to think that I would cheat on him. I've tried to be transparent and communicated, and it wasn't enough. He told me he would give me time to think about this, that he wouldn't go behind my back and do this test, but for our relationship to move forward, he needs to be 100% sure. He repeated this because he, in his words, needed me to realize how serious he was. After thinking for a couple of days, I'm going to allow him this paternity test because I have nothing to hide. I never cheated and would never have cheated on him. Once it's proven that he's the father, I'm ending it, leaving the same day, and I'm going to try my best to be a cooperative co-parent with him. In the meantime, I'm coming up with my exit plan, place to live, and a lawyer to work out a custody arrangement in court. My boyfriend admitted he's no longer attracted to me because of my weight. My 20 female, boyfriend 22 male, had been together for 2 years, and we were perfectly happy and everything was going great. 6 months ago, he started working out regularly and he has this new diet with no cheat days. He's really invested and spends a lot of time in the gym. I barely get to see him anymore. He's been asking me to join him at the gym for so long, and I stupidly thought it's him attempting to bond. I go with him sometimes. I even got a membership that just sits in my wallet most of the time. I explained to him many times that since I injured my knee last year, I can't keep up with him anymore, and working out together is just not something I can do. He always gets upset and says I'm not even trying, and it's good for me if I push myself a little harder. Last week, he came and told me that he doesn't feel attracted to me anymore because of my weight. My lack of motivation to do anything about it is making him frustrated. He said intimacy feels like a chore, and unless I'm willing to change, he'll break up with me. I felt very scared and desperate. I cried and begged him not to break up with me and that I'll lose the weight. But now I'm thinking maybe it's better if we do break up, simply because our priorities no longer align. If this is something he's willing to break up with me over, then he's not the man I fell in love with. I just really hate to throw 2 years down the drain for something so petty. I'm definitely not skinny, but I wouldn't call myself fat either. I'm 177 centimeters and 85 kilograms. This converts to 5 foot 10 inches and 187 pounds. I admittedly did gain some weight since we started dating, but it's only 3.5 kilograms. Now he wants me to lose at least 5, and he says we'll set more goals along the way, but that's my first goal. I guess I'm gonna be single soon, and I don't know how to feel about that.
This is the story time of how my ex almost got me killed. So my ex and I were broken up during this time, and I received a text from him that was like, you need to come over, we need to talk immediately. I'm like, I literally knew he was still in love with me, but I didn't want to get back together with him whatsoever. But I was like, you know what? It won't hurt the ego to hear him confess how in love with me he really is. So I'm like, ugh, I'll come over, like, whatever, we can talk. But, like, just so you know, I'm not getting back together with you. He's like, it has nothing to do with that. I'm like, okay, sure. Like, okay, sure. So I drive over there, and this man gets in my car, and he's very, like, panicked. He's like in a frazzle. I don't know if in a frazzle, whatever. He's just like very anxious. I'm sitting there like, what do you want to talk about? Like, what could it possibly be? Because I know this man is like, we are soulmates. Like, I've done this talk one too many times with him. I know where this is going. So he's like, Livy, I need to tell you something, but you cannot tell a soul. I'm like, who the fuck am I gonna tell? Like, what is it? He's like, I got involved in a scamming thing where I scammed people, and I felt so guilty that I gave the bank the $3,000 I was supposed to give the guy. And now this guy has a hit out on me. I go, what the fuck? You weren't lying. You really didn't want to get back together with me. No, but in that moment, I'm like, wait, what? Because from what I knew about my ex, like, he wasn't involved in those kinds of things. So I'm like, where the fuck did this energy come from? Then I'm like, a hit out? Like, they want to kill you? He's like, yeah, like, they're saying that they're gonna kill me. At this point, I have a million thoughts racing through my head. The number one being, who decides to be a scammer and then feels guilty and gives it all to the bank? Like, I don't know much about scamming, but if you're gonna scam, do it right. The second thing that's going through my mind, this man was never this motivated when we were together. So I'm like, you got a new bitch that you're scamming for? And like, you're gonna take her out with all your scamming money? Like, you never took me out on nice dates. So like, why did you just automatically decide to start scamming? Like, why do you need this money so bad? Like, clearly you have another bitch that you're trying to impress. So I get a little bit angry. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm just like, I've never seen you so motivated about money. Like, why are you motivated about money now? He's like, none of this matters. They're trying to kill me. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Like, show me these messages that the guy sent you. My ex pulls up his Instagram. What about two? So my ex pulls up his Instagram. He was DMing the people he was scamming with. But it hits me, I'm like, I'm all over this fucker's Instagram. It's just photos of me. So I look at my ex, I'm like, you think they're gonna kill you? They're gonna fucking kill me. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, I'm all over your fucking Instagram, okay? And if the scammers really wanted to hurt you, they're gonna kill the person that they think you love the most. Like, what? Now I'm freaking out. And I'm like, I wish I never fucking forced you to post me. Like, we should have never been in a relationship together. Why the fuck was I so persistent on you posting me? So I'm convinced. I'm like, okay, no, fuck you and your hit out on you. The scammers are gonna kill me. It's like, they're not gonna kill you. I'm like, regardless, one of us is gonna be dead. Like, we have to tell your parents. He's like, we can't. I'm like, are you fucking insane? Like, I am not going to have this thought lingering over my head. And if you die, I just show up at the funeral. Like, so I knew there was a hit out. I just didn't know it was this serious. He's like, you cannot tell my parents. They'll be so mad at me. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. This is like life or death kind of situation. Like, I could care less. He's like, I'll never talk to you again if you tell my parents. I'm like, is this a fucking promise? Like, tell me this is a promise. So I leave my ex and I'm fully convinced the scammers are gonna kill me. Like, I'm aware I made this entire situation about me, but like, you would do the same. My ex is a dumbass and he's like, yeah, they know where we live. I'm like, what? They know where we live? So I go home, I tell all my friends and I'm like, you guys, I'm gonna be fucking killed. Tell them the story I just told you guys and they're like, wait, since when was he so money motivated? I'm like, I know, right? I'm like, is it a new bitch? Like, when did he decide to go make all this money? We're just like deep diving on the really like non-important topics of it all. I came to the conclusion, like, I obviously have to tell his family. Text my ex, I'm like, give me your Instagram password. I'm gonna just like do some research. I fucking lied. I just needed screenshots to show his parents because like I knew that he wouldn't show them the phone whatsoever. But as I get his Instagram password, I deep dive a little bit and I'm like, oh, you were cheating the whole fucking relationship. I'm like, oh, you were messaging this bitch, this bitch. And he's like, it's not important. I'm like, fuck you. The next day I call his mom. I tell her everything. I'm like, there's a hit out on him. Like, I'm all over the Instagram. Am I gonna be safe? Am I gonna be okay? She's like, I literally have no idea. I'm like, wait, what? She's like, no, you'll be fine. I think they're more worried about him. I'm like, are you sure? I looked really good on the Instagram. She's like, it'll be okay. Like, just don't go back downtown for a while. I'm like, what the fuck? Mind you, as I'm on the phone with his mom, my ex is texting me like, I literally hate you. I'm like, good, I fucking hate you too. So we just came to the conclusion that I wasn't gonna go downtown for a while and like neither was he. But that's the story time of how my ex almost got me fucking killed.
Am I the for making my daughters wear dresses when they visit their grandparents? My husband and I have 3 children, and we go to visit all their grandparents since they live close. Here's the issue. They don't like the idea of women wearing pants. My mother-in-law says it's showing off, and my father-in-law always says it isn't Christian. Now I'm pretty feminine, so I don't mind throwing on a dress when we stop by, but our daughters are not. They don't like visiting my husband's parents, which breaks his heart, because we make them put on a dress before they go. They're both pretty tomboyish, and they never wear any dresses otherwise. To be clear, it's not like they aren't allowed over if they wear pants, it's just that they won't shut up the entire time about how much they hate it. Our daughters hate this, and think it's unfair. I guess it is, but in a lot of cultures, women only wear skirts and dresses, so I don't think it's a big deal. Plus, it isn't like it hurts them to wear a dress a few times a week for a few hours. One day, as my dad was at work and my mom was out grocery shopping, I saw a guy parking his car in our spot. I waited a bit, maybe he was just making a 1-minute pit stop, but he was still away after about 5 minutes, and there were a few visitor parking spots available. So I was baffled as to why he decided to steal our spot. I decided to call for a tow truck, and then they came about 3 to 4 minutes later. As the tow truck driver was hooking the car up, the guy came and saw it. He immediately got into an argument with the tow truck driver, saying he was only there like 10 minutes. My mom got home about half an hour later, and I forgot to mention to her what happened. But 10 minutes after she returned, the guy that stole our spot came to our house and argued with me and my mom, saying he was only going to be there for 5 more minutes. It got heated, but he eventually walked away still mad. Am I in the wrong?